just heard that you explained that you qualified it as the detectives and police. And I asked you the authorities, the police, the prosecutors, I just made it broad, that they forced Jeffrey Williams into it. Did you hear you say that?
Man, can I get a water or something? I'm so high right now, y'all. I'm about to go to sleep on y'all ass.
Welcome to another episode of No News is News. I'm your host, Alex R. Wagner, and this is the show where news is not the news, and we have news and stuff. So, what happened while we were gone? We had like a little 10-day gap there since, we did State of the Union, and then we talked a little Elon Musk trivia, but now we have the big story, which is this Trump bloodbath comment. I don't know why every single time Trump says something and then people take it out of context, it becomes the story that everybody has to talk about all week. But here we are talking about the Trump bloodbath comment as though it's something interesting or whatever. It's really not. It's really same old, except we're starting to lean a little left and a little right as a society more. We're not really taking into the context of the context because, as you can see, this video titled appropriately, I believe that Joe Rogan may now be very much a Republican and not actually leaning down the middle or even leaning left. I think there's a lot of people that are this way, and this is kind of, a little scary. So let's take some context in here. So we're going to look at the bloodbath comment on Joe Rogan. He has a guest that is going to debate him on whether Trump was talking about an automotive bloodbath or whether he was, there's a bloodbath because I lost the election.
But this one was bizarre. When I saw it, and then I saw the actual speech. Let's play the actual speech.
Yeah, I have the actual speech. The headlines are different, but I'll just play this.
Let's play the actual speech.
To China, if you're listening, President Xi, and you and I are friends, but he understands the way I deal, those big monster car manufacturing plants that you're building in Mexico right now, and you think you're going to get that, you're going to not hire Americans, and you're going to sell the cars to us. No, we're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, now if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole, that's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it. If this election isn't won, I'm not sure that you'll ever have another election in this country. Does that make sense? I don't think you're going to have another election in this country. If we don't win this election, I don't think you're going to have another election, or certainly not an election that's meaningful. And we better get out, or I actually say that the date, remember this, November 5th, I believe it's going to be the most important date in the history of our country. I believe that.
So that's what he said.
Well, that sounds pretty bad. That sounds like the Flight 93 election argument, that if I don't win, the country's over.
But what he's talking about is this subversion of our economy and the subversion of our democracy, that we will never have an election again. I don't think he's saying that it'll be a bloodbath in terms of a civil war. He's saying that the economy is going to be destroyed.
There was no, I was listening for that. I was thinking maybe he meant it as a metaphor.
Speech.
I didn't hear any, the bloodbath is...
It's an unfortunate term, but what he's not, I don't think he's saying it's a civil war.
It sounded to me like he was. It sounded to me like, if he doesn't win, there will be violence.
Right.
You'd have to really give him a hell of a lot of benefit of the doubt.
He's talking about the economy.
He was talking about
he's talking about China building plants. He's talking about all these things and saying that if he doesn't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be a mess. I don't think he's I think he would elaborate on that if he was saying there'll be violence. I don't think that's what he's saying. I think he's saying destruction of our economy, the destruction of our...
He makes a lot of asides. So he was talking about the economy. That's true. And then he said, if I'm not elected, and then he makes an aside about what would happen to the country if he. So look, we might disagree on this. We surely disagree on our priors.
It's surely the wrong way to say it.
And tend to agree with Joe Rogan's guest here, and it's not like I'm not trying to be liberal. I'm not trying to defend the thing is that when it comes to understanding Trump or processing Trump-isms, we all tend to believe that everything is hyperbole. So it's the boy that cried wolf. So like here's Jen Psaki. She's gonna list the last 15 times the media did the same thing.
Much bigger than one single speech. This embrace of political violence, this dehumanizing language. This is what Donald Trump has been preaching for years. In January, he warned that there will be, quote, bedlam in this country if his criminal prosecution derailed his campaign. Late last year, he echoed the dehumanizing language of Adolf Hitler, comparing his political opponents to vermin and saying immigrants are, quote, poisoning the blood of our country. Last month, he said there would be potential death and destruction if he was charged in the Manhattan criminal probe. And during his first term, he flat out refused to condemn the political violence at a white nationalist rally in Charlottesville, Virginia.
And that's why this time it's even harder for people to distinguish when he actually does say something out of context. Because there's definitely, I mean, come on, comma, it's going to be a bloodbath if I don't win the election. He clearly was not talking about the other, but it was a slip up. It's the same thing that he's said before. He's been talking about illegal immigration. We've even shown it on this show where he was like, we need to get rid of them. You just get rid of them. And it's like, well, what does that mean? You're just, he's just improvising as he goes throughout this whole freaking thing. And everybody's looking to take things out of context and build upon things being taken out of context. But then when we as a society say, no, that wasn't taken out of context, when it clearly was within the context, we're now breaking new ground. And I think that the bigger thing here is that it's scaring me as an independent that's still like in the middle, just trying to contextualize everything that's going to go on with this election, because I heard either a Republican friend of mine or somebody that was, now part of the new left wing, these people that are, like anti-cancel culture, all that shit, basically just normal human beings. Their problem is they're like, oh no, look, the Democrats, they're doing the whole, like, it's the end of the world 2.0. If Trump gets elected, it's the end of the world again. The bigger problem is that when you cry wolf like this over and over again, and then things are taken into context, it's hard to have people believe the context or care about the context. Like, it clearly is hyperbole, I would assume, but at the same time, he is directly saying it now, and now we're acting like it doesn't matter that he's directly saying it. Why? Because they've cried wolf 30, 40 fucking times on this same damn thing. But that's kind of what sets you up for the big disaster, so to speak, after this election cycle, which is like, oh, you're going to cry wolf? Well, then I'll just vote in the guy that is a Nazi. And then that guy feels emboldened to do whatever he wants because he finally won, and now he, does whatever he wants. Pretty much everybody knows that they can do whatever the hell they want with any of these governments after COVID. You just run the media and just make up some bullshit, and here's your law or your whatever, like stimulus checks, So with all the bloodbathing, and then you feel more emboldened. Here's Donald Trump claiming victory over the bloodbath comments. The media is wrong, I guess.
Lying Biden campaign and the fake news media have a new hoax. It's brand new. It's called the Bloodbath hoax, taking my words completely out of context. I said that if we don't win, it will be a bloodbath for the U.S. auto manufacturing industry, which is right now turning very bad. And that's 100% true. That's going to happen. That's a fact.
You notice how he says, like, automotive bloodbath this time, as though he said that the first time. Hey, maybe like just pay a little bit more attention to what you're saying, since you're currently being prosecuted for insurrecting the government that you were running, which doesn't make any sense. But still, dude, watch the words, brah. And that's just all like really weird and messed up, is that like when people do that, when people are like, yo, stop saying that, like half the liberal people are like, wait, stop saying that. Why? because you actually do want to exterminate the rest of us once you're voted in? It's like, no, because you'll freak out. And he doesn't really fucking mean it. It's called hyperbole. Hopefully. I don't know. He could be emboldened once he wins. Who knows? It's all shit. If you thought it was going to be better if Joe Biden was going to be your president, well, here is the first campaign ad of Joe Biden's re-election presidency, and it runs 30 seconds after the whole bloodbath comments. So here you go.
Now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath, and it's going to be a bloodbath for the country.
Jews will not replace us.
But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
Are you willing to condemn white supremacists and militia groups?
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
Please rise for the horribly and unfairly treated January 6th hostages.
There'll be a lot of pardons and commutations of January 6th defendants.
Yes, absolutely.
You tell your supporters now, no matter what, no violence.
And it's going to be a bloodbath.
Yep, Joe Biden just threatening us all constantly and, trying to incite violence. I don't know why they're allowed to run ads like that. Is it just because he's president? Because nobody else would be allowed to run an ad where you're showing literal Nazis and literal KKK members and screaming about racism. It's pretty audacious to be spending millions of dollars on and being allowed on all ad platforms, including AdSense. Thought the Nazi logo wasn't allowed, but I guess if you're calling Trump a Nazi, anything's allowed. Rules go out the window again, right? Rules go out the window? Always. They're always out the window. Hey. But if you thought that the campaign ad for Joe Biden inciting violence was bad, here's Joe Biden with Nancy Pelosi and Barack Obama impersonating wax statues while they talk about Trump drinking bleach.
Meanwhile, Donald Trump is about the past and serving himself. This is the guy who doesn't care about science and reason. Remember, during the pandemic, Donald Trump told us to inject ourselves with bleach. He said there's nothing to worry about if you do that. Now Trump keeps telling us he's going to terminate the ACA. Think about what that means. It would mean 100 million Americans with pre-existing conditions would lose their health care coverage. It would mean young people would be kicked off their parents' coverage. Tens of millions of Americans will lose health care coverage as a consequence of all that.
What? Why can't they just they can't even light these people appropriately, and then they make them stand there? Like, what is going on? Are they in control of their own? I thought that they was people for the. This is creepy and weird, and I don't every time that you think that they might have a point up on Donald Trump, then they do something creepy and weirder than Donald Trump. It's weird. And then Joe Biden had his, another campaign event, and he got played off by his own staff.
Everybody does better when unions do better. Everybody does better. Wages up across the board. So, folks, look, I'm going on too long. I apologize. But that must be my traveling staff.
That 19-year-old intern was like, oh, God, thank God, it's over. Push the play button. He's like, here's my $200. Oh, sorry, you were not leaving because you never leave. Please leave. It's good. We're good. We're good. That's why they're laughing, is because we're all good, and none of us need to hear more from this man. So, thank you. Here's Kamala Harris explaining what a vice president does.
The work of vice president includes the work that I have done for the last 3 years, now traveling to over 20 countries in all 4 hemispheres. It includes the work of having met directly with over 150 world leaders. It includes heading up a number of initiatives that directly impact the American people. And there is the work that is about doing what we must do to understand the role that the United States of America plays in the context of the world.
Kamala Harris not really explaining what a vice president does. Oh, big viral moment here, guys. Here's a bunch of illegal immigrants or migrants or What are they? Newcomers now? Aliens, spaceships, I don't know, whatever you want to call them, Guatemalans, Haitians, running across a fence that Texas built or something. Oh my God, let's all freak out.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so now that actually happened and we saw that visual and it's all over the papers, how's the media going to handle it?
See this onslaught headline? The only thing the Post didn't tell you is Donald Trump said, blame me for this. Donald Trump said, kill the bill.
All right, well, since the media is just going to blame Donald Trump, how's the press secretary going to handle it?
Has the president seen that dramatic video of migrants surging past National Guardsmen in Texas and in El Paso?
I mean, look, I have not spoken to the president about that video. What I can say is this. You know, I really truly believe that's a question for, you know, the Republican governor of Texas, right? This is something that he should address.
So I guess the border's just a Republican issue now. We're done. We're done. We're just doing the Republican thing. We're just letting Republicans take care of that part. That's it. They're just going to do it by themselves, right? Okay, cool. I was just checking for a friend. That's all. All right. And now we're to the point where Donald Trump is going to have to pay off a bunch of money. And this was really funny because there became all these really creepy, weird, liberal news talking point things where everyone explained and created their own universes as to how Donald Trump was going to sell this. His stock is going to go public. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. But one of the funniest ones was from CNN that literally estimated the value of his properties, saying that he could basically just sell like 2 properties and be able to make up the entire lump sum. And here's the kicker, guys. The values they estimated are higher than the values he got in trouble for in this case, which is why he has to give them money in the first place. What is... What?
At least 30 days to get any of these properties sold. But the property that you alluded to, Mar-a-Lago, potentially that could be something that could be sold quickly. I think the valuation is something in the hundreds of millions, and I think there could be a buyer for something like that.
And that would be literally, if you're talking about doing that between now and Monday, that's picking up the phone, calling someone, and then literally writing a check.
Yeah, I mean, there could be plenty of international people who want to buy that property. I mean, there's properties that are priced at 150 and 200 million that are nearby that. And Palm Beach is like the NVIDIA, of real estate. It's just shot up like a rocket. And people do want to live there. They've moved there. So I think that would be the best case scenario as to property if he's trying to sell quickly. I would encourage that.
What? Math. I think we need to like ask ChatGPT how this works. Like, so Trump estimated the wrong values of his homes, so then they said that he owed them $400 million. Who's they? The government. So then the media will go on, project that the homes are actually way more than what the government said that they were worth, but then also said there's no way of really knowing, and that's kind of the standard practice, but somehow he needs to sell the property still? I don't understand. What is upside down and down is up and upside down? So everybody's been wondering what's going on with Kate Middleton. Is she pregnant? Is she gonna, disappear? Is the king or prince or whatever, is he cheating or something? Like, did she get kidnapped? Why isn't she available? What happened to Kate Middleton?
I wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you personally for all the wonderful messages of support and for your understanding whilst I've been recovering from surgery. It has been an incredibly tough couple of months for our entire family, but I've had a fantastic medical team who have taken great care of me, for which I'm so grateful. In January, I underwent major abdominal surgery in London, and at the time, it was thought that my condition was non-cancerous. The surgery was successful. However, tests after the operation found cancer had been present. My medical team therefore advised that I should undergo a course of preventative chemotherapy, and I'm now in the early stages of that treatment.
Oh, she just says cancer. I feel like, was this a straight up setup by the royal family to like really get the paparazzi? They're like, we're going to be really quiet and let you guys speculate on everything. And then we're going to be like, cancer. What? All right. So we transplanted a computer into somebody's brain, and Elon Musk's company Neuralink did a video to show us exactly how this person is doing. He is a human and he is working well.
Yeah, my name's Nolan Arbaugh. I'm 29 years old. About 8 years ago, I was in kind of a freak diving accident and dislocated my C4, C5. So I'm a complete quadriplegic. So I'm paralyzed from below the shoulders. I have no sensation or movement below my level of injury, so below my shoulders. I love playing chess, and so this is one of the things that y'all have enabled me to do, something that I wasn't able to really do much the last few years, especially not like this. I had to use like a mouse stick and stuff, but now it's all being done with my brain. If y'all can see the cursor moving around the screen, that's all me, y'all. It's pretty cool, huh?
Actually, can you pause the song just for the audio coming through? And that was also done with your brain?
Yep. It's all brain power up there.
Computers in our brain. Yes, computers in our brain. There are computers in our brains now, and there's only going to be more of them. It's going to happen. We're all going to start moving shit with our minds. That's awesome. All right, here we go. Senator John Kennedy is a man of the people. I love this man. He is probably the funniest meme to ever meme the meme game. You know, Rand Paul had his little moment. Ted Cruz had his moment. AOC had her moment. The squad had their moments. Everyone has their little cool moment. But John Kennedy, this guy fucking nails it every time. He's like the funniest thing that's ever existed. So here's John Kennedy going up against a Gen Z snowboarder, talking about the Green New Deal and green stuff.
What is carbon dioxide?
I went to high school, but that's carbon dioxide is a gas.
Okay.
I'm not a professional to talk about carbon dioxide so much, but
well, you want us to abolish it, right?
No, there's always going to be carbon dioxide.
Right. So what is it you want us to do?
Let
me back up, because I want to. I mean, you're here as an expert. Tell me more about what carbon dioxide is.
I'm here as an expert cross-country skier who sees the changes in my winters and the landscape that I live in Alaska. And so carbon dioxide is what I see it as is, it's a gas that exists in our atmosphere. And
is it the major part of our atmosphere? Or?
It's a huge part of our atmosphere, yes.
It's actually a very small part of our atmosphere.
Well, okay. But, I don't know. What are you asking specifically?
Well, you say we need to reduce carbon dioxide emissions. I'd like to know first if you know what it is.
See, I don't know anything about the ozone or the CO2 or any of that stuff either, so I probably wouldn't go to a congressional hearing to fix it. All right, but there's another congressman that's trying to get to be funnier than John Kennedy. Can he do it? Here is a congressman in a Putin mask.
Congressman, can you explain what you're wearing? I just came to thank James Comer for taking all of our intelligence and using it in the committee. Maybe he can come see the technology in our grocery stores. Thank you.
Congressman, do you think this behavior is kind of immature?
I don't know why he did this. The best part of this is it's reported that's like, don't you think this is a little childish? And he immediately pulls off the mask because he goes, like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Wearing Putin masks as congressman. All right, there we go. Our favorite part of every episode is always this part of the episode. And here is all of the ladies from The View speculating over why Jared Kushner isn't going to just hand over Saudi money that they think he has to pay off Trump.
They know that he doesn't pay his bills back. And obviously, he didn't make enough money in that golden sneaker thing. Or the Trump University, or the Trump steaks.
But wait a minute, what
about
every Jared? Doesn't Jared have $2 billion?
Yes, he does. That he got from the Saudis. But I guess Jared knows that he don't pay his bills, so he doesn't want to give them the money either.
That was surprising to me that Jared is not going to give him part of his $2 billion cachet that he got, probably only because he worked in the Trump administration. But I will say this, to reiterate, the reason people will not lend him money is because he is notorious for stiffing people that work for him.
These ladies are literally like, so there's The View and then there's The Five. And I feel like they're the same program, but in reverse. It's like if you just want to live in one world, you live in whatever one, but it's the same thing. There's 5 ladies or 5 people just being like, Republican. I don't know. Only time I ever see things from The View is like when I'm like pulling up her clips, and it's ridiculous. Does anybody watch The View? Do we watch The View still? Still? When did we ever? Rosie O'Donnell? No, never. We never really. Maybe? It used to be part of the zeitgeist. Now it's kind of just part of clip culture. The View. A thing that Republicans complain about. All right, getting rowdy down here in Florida. It's spring break, y'all. And in Tampa, they were doing some illegal street racing. They didn't even know the cops had shown up, but they had already shown up in the helicopter. Check this shit out.
They're blocking the intersection now.
Starting a fire. They just started a fire. They just started a fire in the middle of the road, and I got a green convertible. See if he starts sliding here.
All right, so far. I'm going to go and turn my heads on. He's getting out of hand.
Yeah, go ahead. We'll go after the green one. He's doing donuts right now.
All right, green Mustang would be good. Green Mustang. Yeah, I think he's got a Cuban flag. He's stopped on McDill. Stopped on McDill.
No. Northbound. The green convertible is northbound on McDill.
Wild how they literally watch him, and they watch them all like circle up to do a race, and they're like, all right, whatever. Oh, he lit a trash can on fire. He lit a what? All right, I'm turning my lights on. They all flee like ants. I love as soon as they turn the lights on, flee like ants. I didn't know that like the helicopters were on people like that though. That's kind of, you know, that means like every time you outside doing something illegal, you should be looking up in the sky. Just remember that. There can always be a helicopter from Tampa Bay looking down on you, being like, you starting a fire in the street? If you are, turn our lights on. And finally, our last little bit of fun stuff this week. I thought we'd go back from last week again and just check out one more clip of the final interview that Don Lemon will ever do as a human being. I'm not sure he is a human being because he doesn't really understand how to be one. But here is Don Lemon trying to understand why Elon Musk is a human and not just like part of like a race project or some weird DEI program or something. I don't know. But it's pretty much the reason that Don Lemon got fired. So like, let's check it out. This is it. Here you go.
You think that society blames everything on racism now?
It blames a lot of things on it, and yeah.
You think that's unfair?
Yeah.
Why?
I think we should not make this a constant subject. I think we need to move on. I think we just, treat people like people.
You don't agree that this country was founded on racism and founded on slavery and in many ways inequities? That still continue on to this day?
I think every country at that time, and I think even today, was extremely racist.
I didn't understand this whole thing. Ryan Long put it best on the Boys Cast. It's like, why hire someone like Don Lemon and give him all this money and all this stuff on the contract, thinking that he's going to do something decent for the network, even if he has a voice that is opposed to whatever your ideas are. You never talked to the guy. You never looked at the guy. You waited until you did a public interview with him before you realized that he was kind of a gotcha figure of the left from like way, way back in the day. Like, you didn't hire the bald guy. What's the bald guy? He does like Vogue now or something. Brian Stelter. You didn't fucking hire Brian Stelter. Why'd you do Don Lemon? Like, is it because he was black? Is that why? Were you trying to like fix some race thing? It doesn't. Elon Musk, it doesn't make any sense. You should have went for Chris Cuomo. You should have went for something that made more sense than what you were. I don't know why you thought people would want to watch Don Lemon on your social media platform. Millions of dollars too. Maybe it was all a ploy just to fire him. I don't know. It's been a bullshit week full of bullshit shit. This has been No News is News, and I'm Alex R. Wagner, and this has been another episode and stuff. And bloodbaths and immigrants climbing fences and more Elon Musk drama. We'll see what's in store for April. I'll be back here next week. Maybe it'll still be in March. I don't know. We'll see what's going on. Talk to you later. Bye.
Guys, I guess just don't follow the fucking sky, you know?